Our sponsor for the OhHello pod is Flash Talking by Media Ocean. Say oh goodbye to the headache of personalizing your ad creative. With Flash Talking, you can easily create, automate, activate, and iterate. That's 4 8s for those keeping score. And I'd say overall, that's pretty great. Open web, social, mobile, and CTV. Do it all in a flash with Flash Talking. Visit mediaocean.com/flash talking to learn more. That's mediaocean.com/flash talking. Thanks. And now for our pod.
Oh, come on, Charlie Brown.
All right. Hello, Jess Cook. And hello,
Hey.
OhHello podcast. Hi, all of our listeners. Hi, Jess.
How's it going, Jeremy?
I am great. Anytime I get to talk to you, it puts a smile on my face. You bring
Likewise.
such amazing energy every time that we talk. So I know this about you, but why don't you tell everybody, who are you? Why are you here?
So existential. I am Jess Cook. I'm currently head of content at Lasso. But in my last role, I worked for you, Jeremy Bloom.
With.
I worked with you at Marpipe. And so that is how you and I know each other. And we've become very good friends.
Absolutely.
And let's see what else. The first major portion of my career was spent in ad agency world. I was a creative director and copywriter, worked on some really fun stuff and some fun brands there. At one point, I decided I wanted to do something totally different, make a huge pivot, but use kind of that same skill set. And so I found myself in SaaS content marketing, which is absolutely, like, having been in both worlds, the right place for me. So now I'm over at Lasso, which is a platform for event production companies. So, you know, when you go to a football game or a concert or like some sort of corporate event or conference, you know, there's a million things that happen before you walk in that door. And so Lasso helps the companies who put those events on, who, you know, do all the lighting and the sound and the video and just pushing the stage together and putting everything in the right place. So we are a platform for helping them plan and grow and do all of the things.
That's a good description of who you are. Also, a mother, a wife, an entrepreneur.
Oh yeah,
a Michigander.
that's right. Thank you. Yes, it's funny.
Course.
I kind of forget those parts of myself
Well,
sometimes during work hours. You know, sometimes it's easy to forget.
Sure. Easy to forget during work hours, but
Yes,
you are a mentor to many, and a lot of folks look up to you as someone who is both entrepreneurial and intrapreneurial, working at it within a company and just building, and also someone who is entrepreneurial on the side, who has a ton of grit and hustle, which is amazing, and I truly respect that. So thanks for explaining who you are. How would you characterize your skill set and what you're going to be sharing with the OhHello community?
One, I am like so excited to be a part of this, simply because I think my favorite part of what I do, and like having become kind of a pretty avid poster on LinkedIn, is people reaching out to me and being like, can we just talk for a bit? Like, I just want to pick your brain. I'm in a similar position, or I'm new to content marketing, and like, I just want to learn everything I can. And so that's always one of my favorite things to do, is like hop on a call with someone and talk through, whatever they're stuck with or struggling with or curious about at the moment. And so I'm so excited to be part of a community now that's the sole purpose, right? Is like connect the people who want to kind of like get that information out of their heads into the people that want it in their heads. And so I'm really excited about that. As far as what I would talk about or kind of where my expertise lies, definitely copywriting and content marketing, strategy, creative, repurposing. I'm a huge fan of like creating one thing and then turning into 70 other things.
You are so good at that.
It's so fun to me. I love that. I love that. I think because I get to work a little smarter and not harder.
Totally.
And that is a huge perk for me. What else? Personal branding. And I think one really important thing that really just you can't learn anywhere else, like in school or in a book, is just like building confidence. I think actually, when I first started working with you, Jeremy, I remember talking to you and saying, I suffer really badly from imposter syndrome. And I think over, through working with you and building what we did together, I feel like I have shed that for the most part. And so I love when people come to me and they're like, how did you do that? Or like, how can I get rid of this feeling that I don't know what I'm doing? Because it is really hard and it can really hold you back. And so that as well, just like, how do I get more confident in this thing called marketing?
Thank you for showcasing that vulnerability to our listeners, our viewers, and just for always being so transparent. Having had the pleasure of partnering with you and seeing you grow into yourself and shedding those layers and becoming who you are, the expert of content marketing, the chef's kiss, the Jess Cook.
Yes.
It's been fantastic watching you through that journey because you have showcased your vulnerability and you've realized that none of us know exactly what we're doing, but if you give it your damnedest and if you just try and expose both your strengths and your weaknesses, it makes a difference. So
absolutely. Yeah. And I think you'll find like the people who are trying to grow the most will feel those insecurities the most, right? Because if you're trying to grow, it means you're trying to do lots of things, new things you've never done before. And like, how could you not feel anything other than like, I've never done this before. What do I do? I have no idea how to start. Right. And so I think part of shedding that is knowing it's okay to feel that way because it means you're growing.
Well said. Well said. With growth, how did you become who you are? Who were some of your mentors?
You, JB. I think you are just a fantastic just human being. And I think you give people the space and the autonomy they need to like do their best work along with the direction they need to do that work. So
Thank you
for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, of course. It's absolutely genuine. I had a creative director early on. His name's Andy Gould. And he was also a copywriter. And he was someone who would sit with me and take time with me and help me develop my craft as a copywriter and therefore my confidence as a copywriter. And that was huge. I think sometimes we need to find those people who even show the smallest interest in us in our career and hang on to them and like ask them questions. What can I do next? What would you do in this situation? And so he was absolutely someone for me who I felt like took me under his wing. He had a really impressive career and I felt like even just a small fraction of that was able to rub off on me because I could tell that he cared and I took advantage of that, right? Like I was like, I'm going to stick with him and I'm going to learn so much from him. And I did. And he's a big reason that I think I just think the way I do about writing about content.
Sounds like Andy made a profound impact. And thank you so much for saying what you just said as well, Jess. Knowing that you're going to have the opportunity to give back to the community, that you're going to feel that sense of altruism and give a portion of the proceeds and back to a handful of different charities. Of the charities that are going to be piped into the OhHello.io platform, what charity is near and dear to your heart? and why?
So I love Girls Who Code. I think it is one, I don't know that there are going to be very many jobs in the future where you don't have to know some bit of code, right? And so I think every day that passes, that becomes more and more imperative. Two, I mean, I have 2 daughters, and I know that like this whole idea of like knowing how to code, understanding, how something is built, that will affect them the rest of their lives. Like to be successful someday, they will absolutely have to understand that world. I also know that girls tend to, lose interest in STEM activities as they get a little bit older. And so I think trying to get them interested in them while they're young and really instilling that in them, that it's fun and interesting and look at all the cool things you can build and do. And there are so many examples now, right? Which is really exciting. Going back to that idea of those who are most interested in self-growth are always going to have that little bit of fear of like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is new. How do I accomplish it? And so I think Girls Who Code is one of the organizations that are helping girls overcome that by teaching them that new skill that's difficult, right? And once they become confident in it, they see they have this room for growth that is really all within their control.
As a female leader in the space, that was so wonderfully said. We so much appreciate you being on the pod, Jess.
Absolutely.
You are an inspiration to so many. Everyone listening, please follow Jess Cook on LinkedIn. And more importantly, go and sync with her on OhHello.io. Thank you, Jess. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Jeremy. Bye.
Thanks, listeners.